An emulator allows you to take software that was written for a different computer architecture and run it on a modern computer, in this case a Mac. So the first thing I did to start writing this was research other people's investigations into the PAC-MAN hardware on the internet and investigate other emulators. From that I was able to determine the layout of the original PAC-MAN hardware, the processor used, the memory configuration, and most importantly the configuration of the audio and video hardware. Arcade machines tend to have custom video hardware and custom audio hardware. This hardware is often unique to those machines, and so you need either the circuit diagram or some other description of how this hardware works in order for you to create a reproduction of it in software. It's a 35-year-old video game. Its software and the hardware used is relatively simple, and so it's a good introduction to writing an emulator. And also I grew up with the PAC-MAN games and enjoyed them very much. It's really added an extra dimension to those games, actually understanding how the hardware works and how the software works. So when you first start writing an emulation like this, you can put the main parts of the processor together, the CPU, the ROM and the RAM, and start it executing the original software. And once you can see that it's actually doing something which looks recognisably like the shapes that are on the original arcade machine, you've got that confidence that it is running the code properly, and now we can leave the address bus and we can start concentrating on the video hardware and then on the sound hardware, and then add the inputs and controls. At the start it takes a long time to make a small amount of progress, but really once you've got that toehold into the system, the rest of it falls out, and you can make a lot of progress very quickly. Then you can start concentrating on improving that output. It sounds very good, the sounds are very crisp and very sharp, but I'd have to go and listen to an original machine to know if I'd got the sound correct. There are always implementation difficulties with any system, even if it's well documented, and those have been the problems I've had to overcome. These, in this case, were producing the sound emulation due to the difference in bit rates that the PAC-MAN hardware runs at and the standard bit rates that modern computer hardware runs at. Well, it's been a very satisfying project to do. It's got a goal, it's got a very well defined goal, and that's to be able to play PAC-MAN on a Mac using the original software. There's been many PAC-MAN emulators written before, so it's nothing unique. It's a good exercise in problem solving, in understanding how machines work at a sort of hardware level, and although it probably has no commercial value, it's a challenge and allows me to develop my problem solving skills. So a lot of the audio and video hardware are made out of very simple logic chips that were available at the time, but they've been used in very inventive ways that allowed this machine to be built. And its success, I believe, was in no small part to the creativity of the original designers in getting the most out of the technology that was available at the time. And that's really inspiring for me.